First, I'd like to thank the fans. They did a great job of helping us as far as the noise all goes, and I know that inspires our guys to play well, and they were very active today. So that I thought it was a very close game for 3 quarters. I thought the big play that kind of changed the momentum of the game was Tarpley's takeaway down there in the red zone, because they were actually, if they had scored, they'd have gone ahead of us at that time. So that was a really big play in the ball game. Memphis had a couple nice returns on us. Matter of fact, one of them was to set up that drive right there where they got down the red zone. But I thought Memphis did a nice job right there. I thought our O-line played well. We had 0 sacks. I think we ran for 169 yards rushing. So again, the offensive line did a very good job. Bryce continues to make plays and play well. I thought he did a real nice job in the football game. And outside of that, questions?
Yeah, we'll open it up to questions. Start up here.
Hey, Coach. Mike Mueller, BCP Plus. You guys leaned really heavily on the run in the first half, and then it seemed like you kind of switched over to the passing game. And while that did get going in the fourth quarter, it seemed like you were struggling a bit in the third. I was just wondering, why did you make the change and start throwing the ball more when you were having so much success running early on?
I thought in order to win the football game, I had said something to Marcel about, we need to start to lean just a little bit more on the pass at a certain time, and he took a couple shots down the field. Some of them were just overthrows, but I think we get something out of those plays regardless, just from the standpoint of letting the opponent know that you're going to go down the field. It causes the coordinator to call different calls and have to keep up with what you're doing play call wise. So that was one of the reasons. Then when you had a little success with, all of a sudden it shows up. The incompletes, it's like it never happens sometimes to a fan, but to the opponent it does. And so I think we had a good mix. I did. I'm always, it's always, I think we have a running personality a little bit, I guess you could say, for our league. But at the same time, we understand that if we don't throw the ball and throw it down the field, it's going to be hard for us to win consistently going forward. So it's something that we continue to work on. Like I said, even though there was 2 or 3 balls I remember that were just overthrown, but there were a couple nice catches too. I thought the one that Siosi caught after being pass interfered was a hell of a catch. And then Moore got the touchdown down in the corner there. It was nice. We had some young players today. Last week we had Sheridan come alive, and today I thought the tight end, J.W.J. Wiedemeyer, I thought he did a real nice job. I think he had 3 receptions on the day for about 35 yards and had a touchdown. So it's always nice when some young guys step up and do good things. And on our football team, we've got about a half a dozen guys that are right out of college. They're 20, 25 as we call them guys. This would be their draft. So we're really pleased about that. They really are. Those young guys have done a real nice job.
Coach, speaking of the efficiency offensively, Bryce was very efficient today and really spreading the ball around. You look, I'm looking at right here, 7 different receivers caught passes, 8 if you include Samson Nakua with his PAT. What have you seen out of Bryce, and more so, has there been an emphasis on making sure you're spreading the ball around to your different playmakers, because there's a lot of talent offensively?
And I think if you asked Bryce that question, he'd answer it the same way, and that is that he knows he's got a lot of good, competent guys around him, and he wants to feed the ball to all of them. And I think he does that intentionally. I really do. I think that it's not only some in the play calling by Marcel, which is good, but I do know that look, we got a good receiving core, and they all have their own little niche in what they do. But it's a really good group. It's a very competitive group. A lot of toughness in the wide receiver group, which is not always the case. Sometimes you have a flashy group, but they're really not. They don't catch the tough balls to catch. There's not a guy in the group that doesn't make tough catches. So I think it's really just Bryce trying to make sure he's getting the ball to the guys and keeping them hungry for making plays.
Thank you, Coach. Last week, Marino and Sheridan talked about how the team has really embraced sort of a next man up mentality, and then today on defense. First 20 plays for Memphis allowed 25 yards, and on offense you have 8 different players with over 30 yards through the air and on the ground. Can you sort of talk about that?
About the next man up mentality?
About that mentality.
Well, if it's next man up because they're playing well and they're just going through the game and everybody's in the ball game, I think that's great. We had next man up today on defense at linebacker. Two of our linebackers went down in the game, and we only had two to finish the game. That was at halftime. The second half, we just had two linebackers on our squad, and then a couple times we had to put Kedrick in at Whitehead in at linebacker to do a couple plays as well, who's a safety. So that next man up situation, you kind of want to stay away from. But when it happens, it's if they play well, obviously it's something that gets you excited, because that's really what we're all about. We want players, and especially the young players, to all get play time as well. And I think it showed itself today a little bit. We had a little bit of depth, but I think we're a little banged up. I'm not sure exactly what the injury report's going to look like tomorrow. So there might be a little bit more next man up next week than I'd like for. But if it is, I think they'll do fine. I really do. I think they'll be fine.
And then just one more question on your defense. Obviously, 3 really big plays. Obviously, the Tarpley interception, and then the 2 stops on 4th down. Just sort of breaking down, obviously the Tarpley interception is sort of a really just ingenuitive, very unique pick. Can you talk about those plays a little bit?
Well, Tarpley's was just an individual effort, in my opinion. The fact that he was right there, perfect timing, hit the guy, and then his ball awareness was very good. Tarpley's a very good player. He really is. He's been a good player. He's got a lot of experience, not only with us in this league. He was with the USFL. He was with Pittsburgh at that time. I remember going against him. Everybody in the league had a lot of respect for him. He might have been. I'm sure he was an all-league player, but he's played for several. Like I say, he's played for a few NFL teams. He's a big playmaker. The other 4th downs that we got in the football game, I can't remember exactly who made the stops on them, but look, at a 4th down's like a takeaway. That's how we look at it defensively. It's the same thing as a turnover, and because we're getting the ball right there where it's at, and obviously don't get a chance to punt it and things like that. So those are big plays in the football game, and they made a difference. And I know I don't know if the second, 4th down. I know that the 4th down at the end, obviously, and the takeaway by Tarpley were both at the end of the 3rd, and then the 4th quarter at the end of the game. I don't recall when the other 4th down was. Do you? But what I was going to say is, I thought the game was kind of it was anybody's game until Tarpley's play. And then I think we pulled away a little bit at that point. But otherwise, it was a very close game for a long time.
Coach, just one more. Malik Turner took over the return duties after Devin Ross's fumble. Is that something that he's going to continue to do moving forward, or was this just kind of like a little stopgap, one-time thing?
Perfectly honest, I'm okay with him returning. I don't like it as much because I think he's a hell of a receiver, and we have other guys that can return. But right now, with going with 5 wide receivers in the game because our running backs are a little bit banged up, somebody's got to do it in that group, and so that's why he does it. We've got a couple other people that do it, but he's doing such a good job of fielding the ball, and so and they all love touches. So the last thing you really want to do is take it away from him, because then you're gonna say, look, that's what I'm here to do, touch the ball. So I'm glad he's doing it. I'm glad he enjoys it. But we do have a couple other guys that can turn as well. So I won't say that it's his job, all the time. If we go 6 wide receivers, it could very well be somebody else's in the group, only because that 6th wide receiver will probably take on those duties, and that's why he'll be 6 up for the game.
There's 2 more in the room, then we'll go to Zoom. Yeah.
Hey, Coach, so you started this conference earlier thanking the fans for coming off because this is Fan Appreciation Night. I know over the past couple of years this team has been inconsistent at home, but just tell me how it feels coming out of this homestand, 3 straight games, coming out 2-1, knowing that you're going to go out on the road and starting the season 3-1 and everything. Well,
I'll say this, playing at home, obviously you always want to, especially you want to win at home, but the fans do have an impact on the players, and that's why I always kind of point out that I appreciate it, whether it's a Fan Appreciation Day or not. Our players certainly appreciate it, so it's my job to tell them that they do, because it inspires them. Look, they got pretty loud for the 9,000 or 10,000 that were there today. They get loud, and a lot of them are sitting right behind our bench, so we get to hear it, full force, which is nice. But that's a big part of why players play the game too. They want to be recognized, and when the fans get going, that's recognition for them. But hopefully that continues, and we have a couple more home games naturally in the next. Well, we're 3-1. We have another 6 games, but anyhow, hopefully I'm sure it'll keep up, and when it does, I hope we come back with a victory.
Coach, red zone execution's kind of been an emphasis lately. I know you had the 4 tries against Birmingham that didn't go your way. Last week, still scoring, but settling for some field goals. Today, 3 for 3 in the red zone. Were there any key adjustments that you made there on that end of the ball, or is it more so just you're executing now and kind of getting into a groove down there in the red zone situations?
Yeah, I don't think it's very complicated. I think you hit it on the head. To be honest with you, I think it's just a matter of we executed well, and that's why it happened. I really do. I think Marcel does an excellent job game planning and having plays in, but if it worked more than anything, it's just a matter of executing. The guys out executed the opponent in that situation, so that was good.
And then we'll take Oscar on Zoom. Go for it, Oscar.
Oscar.
Congratulations. Tonight you have the win number 40 in the history of the Michigan Panthers. 24 wins in the 80s and 60 wins in the modern era. What is your opinion about that?
First off, I want to say hello, Oscar. Good to hear your voice, buddy.
Thank you very much, Coach.
All right, now Sage is going to help me with your question because I didn't hear it clear.
This is win number 40 in franchise history, going back to 24 in the 80s and 16 since they've returned. So just your thoughts on win number 40 as an organization.
Win number 40. Well, let me see what my thoughts are. Well, look, it's I don't know what to say other than it's exciting to get a win anytime you get them. They're hard to come by in our league. They really are. There's a lot of parity in our league, and I know that the record of the opponent we just played is not what they want it to be. But at the same time, they're like I said, there was a time in that game where they could very easily have taken control of the football game. So when you get a win, regardless whether it's number 40 or whatever it might be, they all count, and they're all hard to come by.
And you talk about this great performance by Bryce Perkins, but the offensive line too, a wonderful game.
Sage is going to help me.
Just your general thoughts on the offensive line's play tonight.
Oh, Oscar, I thought the offensive line played very well. We had 0 sacks in the football game, and we ran for 169 yards, I believe. I think that's accurate. But anyhow, I thought they did an excellent job. It's a healthy group too. One of the things that's been knock on wood, hope that continues. But it's a big group. It's a strong group. It's a healthy group, and I think that's one of the reasons why they're playing pretty well. Running the football is not easy to do consistently, and I think our guys have done it when we needed to do it. They certainly did it, and not just tonight. I'm talking about thus far this season, and hopefully that continues because that will just continue to open up our passing game, which always takes a little bit longer to get. I think you can see throughout the league, the offenses are always going to be a little bit behind the defenses early in the season, and I think that's what you see across the board. And we're one of those when it comes to throwing the ball, but I do believe we'll continue to pick up going forward because it's a big part. If we're going to keep winning and go into the playoffs and so forth and go further like our guys would like to do, we're going to have to continue to get better as an entire football team, and passing the football will be a big part of it.
Thanks, Coach. Mike Mueller, BCP Plus. Either of you guys can answer this. You've had a really good start to the season, 3-1, and you're about to face a really tough stretch. Got DC coming up, St. Louis coming up. How important is the momentum of having a successful start to go into a middle stretch where you're really going to be tested?
I would say, first and foremost, I think that we just got to keep focusing on the fundamentals as an organization in all 3 phases. So special teams, offense, defense, and just keep believing in each other and trusting each other. I think we've battled some adversity, and continue to grow. And I think as long as we do that, we just trust in the fundamentals and learn from our mistakes, I think we'll put ourselves in a good position.
Kind of going off what he said, focus on fundamentals, but also just keeping the main things. Obviously, we know how good St. Louis is, but I think we know how good we are too. And so I think if we just play our game, keep the momentum going, and just take it one day at a time, I think we'll be just fine. So.
Trey, I'm sure someone will ask about the interception, so I'll leave that up to somebody else. But I wanted to kind of look back a little bit on your time with the Pittsburgh Maulers, where you're with a lot of these guys. You have Bryce as one of your teammates, but Memphis, a bunch of former Maulers on that team. You're going up against DC, Jaron Horton. What's that kind of been like for you? I know you guys are very close, and does this game have a little bit more meaning, when you're going up against guys like Isaiah Henney and Troy Williams and guys that you were teammates with?
Yeah, I mean, it's always fun to play against, your friends and whatnot and compete. So I think for me, at the end of the day, we respect every opponent, no matter who it is. If, we're close to them, we're really cool with them too. But I think it's fun. We do a lot of trash talking and stuff before the game. But it's all love at the end of the day. We're all here to get better and to continue to improve. So, shout out to those guys. They make sure they're prepared just like we are. So we just try to do our best with kind of what we're given over here. And it's fun playing with these guys as well.
Any more questions in the room? Take it on the front here.
Well, if no one else is going to ask about the pick, I'll ask about the pick. Just walk me through that play, and how do you keep focus when the ball is going down like that? I mean, how do you even locate a ball like that? And
So just film study, at the end of the day, you got to get a beat when you're watching film to figure out, where they're going to go with the ball. And they were checking for us all game to see, where the safeties were going to be rotating. EJ kind of pre-snap, I could see where his eyes were going. So I knew it was going to be a slant or, a glance. So just anticipated it, and then when I came downhill, I was thinking, if I hit him, I saw Adonis. If I hit him, the ball will come out, but I'm trying to get the ball at the end of the day. So I see him go hit the ball. I'm like, all right, let me see if I can try to punch it out. And when I went to hit him, the ball just so happened to be there. It was really just God's favor, though, because honestly, if we replayed that, it could have went a million different ways. Just so happened to kind of pop into my lap. So it's all glory to God on that one. I just so happened to be there. So I give him praise. But at the end of the day, just right timing, So I can't take too much credit for it, to be honest with y'all.
Only 4 games into the season, Nate, it feels like, even though it's early in the season, just 4 games in, it feels like you're overdue for your first touchdown with how exciting your play was at the end of last season. How are you feeling right now?
I'm feeling pretty great. It was a very slow start for me with the first 2 games, and then, then kind of getting hurt week 2, and then just kind of trying to bounce back from that. I think it's been pretty great so far. I just got to keep trusting myself, trusting my talents, trusting my skills. I think today really opened up my eyes and kind of showed me that, I belong here. I can play here. And, like I told the reporters on the sideline, shout out to my O-line and especially my center for, just telling me, Nate, we trust you. We believe you, just keep going 2-8. And, and all glory to God, honestly, because, he just inspires me every single day to just continue to grind, continue to get better. And but like you said, it has been a very, very slow start from last year. But, I mean, it's a long season, day by day, week by week. So I'm just going to keep going, keep pushing, and keep being the best I can be for myself and for this team. So.
Do you care to make a prediction on how many more touchdowns this season?
Man, I don't. I just get in where I fit in, wherever I can. However I can contribute to this team, pass, whether it's blocking, just running somebody off, just being a look, any way I can. I just want to help this team. So if I get in there a few more times, I do. But, I'm just happy to be here, very blessed to be here.
Question for either of you guys. Michigan had well over double Memphis's total yards. How does that make you feel?
I'll say defensively, we have a standard, so every week we come out is to try to go 3 and out every series. Is that 100% possible? No. They're going to make plays too. They get paid, and they're really good players. But I can say from a defense, I'll let him speak for the offense. But from a defensive standpoint, we just try to hold ourselves to a standard every time we go out, compete, just trusting what our defensive coordinator is saying, Coach Nolan, and all the position coaches. And they put together a great game plan to put us in position, and we just try to execute on it. So, we didn't even know that until we walked into the locker room. We weren't focused on it at all, just trying to take it one play at a time. So that's what I can say from a defensive standpoint.
I mean, offensively, we did what we wanted to do. But honestly, huge shout out and credit to that defense. They definitely kind of shut us out the first week, and obviously our coaches came with a great game plan, and we just went out there and executed it. So we did what we wanted to do. We're very happy about it, our production and our execution tonight. So, yeah, it was just overall a good night.